Never know with this thing exactly when I'm live, but I think it usually starts pretty much before I get the sense that I am actually live, which I am now. Okay, great. So hi everyone. Happy Monday to you all. I'm really so happy just to have this group and this opportunity to pop up. I'm afraid you're seeing an awful lot of my face in the group. Generally, each post seems to be another picture of me or another video of me. That's not the intention of the group, I can assure you. But I did want to pop up today. It's Monday. We have themes for the day in this group that will definitely change, I'm sure, but I've done my best to anticipate the key themes, at least from the overview for all of us parents of teenagers relating to education. And yeah, it's really sweet just to have the first one, Monday, be on love. Of course, this isn't a group, it's not a parenting group, just a parenting group. So, the word love and parenting is just so obvious. Probably every parenting course would start with that or be all about that. But, love in education and love in relation to education is far more rare. So for me as a mentor, I really feel like that's where education really gets going. That's where, as a teacher and as a mentor, it really becomes powerful when you have that kind of basis to the relationship. Of course, it's not an intimate relationship, a family relationship, but nonetheless, love is the thing that is going to get that feeling in my teaching sessions, and that natural fondness and care and closeness I feel with my students is definitely what empowers the best results in them. Now, of course, all of you are parents, so hi Sarah, thanks everyone for joining live. Yeah, as parents, love is just a given in a way, but I've put down in the comments or in the body text for this video something about just parenting, perfect love, even when you're angry with your kids or whatever comes up. You all know, as parents of teenagers, by now you've experienced many, many different emotions in relation to your children, as well as love, I'm sure. So yeah, I just want to. I'll see if I can go through these a bit quicker, just to keep it succinct. I know you're all very busy, so. The second point, yeah, I mean, perfect love is just a reference point. The first point, perfect love, just a reference point for me when I feel very strong emotions towards my children. I'm sure for parents of teenagers, I know for parents of teenagers relating to schooling, this can be a big one. Just that, prioritizing perfect love in your relationships with them, you're relating to them at all times, is such a great check-in with yourself about how you're relating to these fiery topics of success and motivation and achievement relating to schooling and commitment. So yeah, that's the first one. The second one is just that as parents we can get so busy, and we can end up just in a way feeling maybe too busy with our parenting to concentrate on love, to be very loving, and to make time for that kind of easygoing times with our children of whatever age. The third one then is just to do with not seeing them so much. My children are younger, but I know from the reading I've done and from the parents I've worked with that, often one book, in fact, I'll just show you this book that I'm reading at the moment, which has a very funny title. It's called Get Out of My Life, But First Take Me and Alex Into Town. So yeah, it's a best-selling book by these people. I'm not necessarily recommending this book, but it has left me thinking about a few things. There's a few real gems in there, and one of them was just that as a parent, your teenagers can, and this is certainly not true for everybody, but can be true at this stage, that they just, when you enter the room, their skin, that it changes the atmosphere for them. They kind of want to be more on their own at this time. They're looking outward from parents for influence and for everything, really, it can be, and even before teenage years. So this thing I put in the notes, just loving them in the absence. When you've got this kind of you know, a teenager or a child who might feel really like you walk into the room and it changes everything for them. Then you start talking to them and they just, you know, they're not so open to relationship as they have been in the younger years. So yeah, even managing to love and support them in those times, and to recognize that they may not want to see you when you show up, and they may be spending a lot of time not with you. I'm just speaking to the whole breadth of parenting experience. It may well not be the case for everybody. And then one great bit of advice, which of someone actually who's in the group, who's a homeschooler with older children, said that he booked in time with his teens to make sure every week, this is like a tip, he booked in time with each of his sons to make sure that they did something every week, and they did something that they enjoyed, something of his son's choosing, whether it's going and getting an ice cream, or it could be anything, you know, playing a sport, or anything at all, just to have that regular time, one-on-one, father and son, mother and son, father and daughter, mother and daughter, each of your children, to make sure you have that time weekly, seemed to be a really great tip from him. And then, yeah, I wanted to talk a bit about mentoring, just because I am a mentor. I'm not the parent of the teenagers I work with, and given that teenagers don't necessarily want to spend much time with their parents, and it's a very broad spectrum, like I say, of your experience, and some may be with you all the time, some may be with you hardly any of the time. But you can delegate the love that I bring into my sessions with my teenagers, and the love that all good teachers, to be totally frank, bring into their teaching of young people. You know, it doesn't have to look like a fluffy kind of love. Of course, most teenagers don't go in, certainly teenage boys don't go in for that. But, you know, finding good mentors for your teenagers, just recognizing that they're going to need other influences other than you, is also just a great thing to support your teenagers in their development in general, and also to be aspirational and to be motivated. It's far easier coming from somebody else, and so sometimes when I am mentoring, I feel like a godparent for hire, or an uncle kind of figure. You know, if someone doesn't have that in their life, which many young people don't, someone that they're genuinely close to, you know, that is a very powerful relationship. So mentors, you know, seek them out. You can maybe help as parents. I'm sure you've all thought about this, but it's just a checklist of things that I feel to say in case it's helpful for you. Find your mentors, especially at this time during the pandemic. You know, locally in community, maybe people are more around than they have been. Mentors for your teenagers, people that they can relate to and that can motivate them without you having to do anything. Build those relationships. It's so powerful to have someone outside of the parenting unit inspiring and mentoring your child. So yeah, this is the topic for today, love. Monday is love day. I don't know how these themes are going to work in the group. I think they will. It's good just to have different themes for different days. And so my invitation to you just before I finish this live is just to practice whatever that means to you. There is no rule book for parenting. I don't go in for standardization of parenting or teaching. So you'll know what practicing love this week, which is point number 6, means with your children, in whichever way that looks for you. Just give it a try, and you can post in the group. You can share your experience of doing that, just hearing this and going for it. And the last point is really to frame that comment you could make. If you do practice, some aspect of conscious and intentional love of your teenager to empower them, support them, help motivate them in a general sense, then you could post underneath. This is just the phrase with my teenage child, love is. And it's really to identify those moments where you might not even be there, just allowing them to go out in a certain way, or, you know, whenever you really feel like your parenting is like hitting the mark, when you're really meeting them exactly where they want to be met. For my kids who are younger, it's like allowing them to do something that maybe I don't always allow them to do, and just that the glee and the joy and the sense that they have of just being loved in that way. So yeah, I would love to hear from you if there is something that comes up this week, or if you feel to post something right now around what loving action and love looks like for you with your teenage child. What is it that you really feel brings you closer and makes that special bond, which is the reason for it being a theme in this particular group relating to education. It's the basis, of course, for everything. So like nothing could be more important for a successful child in all ways than love. So yeah, I hope that's been useful. Thank you so much to all of you who are watching live, and I will see you all very soon. And thank you for filling in the poll. Thank you for just posting in the group and introducing yourselves, and a very warm welcome to all new members. So yeah, thanks for all being here, and see you very soon.